ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
The People Station.
What is that?
What is that?
Spark FM.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com. Hey, hi, my loves. How are you? I miss you so much. And so, good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. You're tuned in to Spark FM Online. I love everything about us. Make sure you follow us, like us. We just launched a brand new website yesterday, so check that out. There's so much news to cover, but one of the things that I do want, so I was snowed in. And so I really just took a time out to do all the things that I haven't had time to do. And that's what I did. What you did during your snow day? How you enjoy your snow day? If I could snitch on myself, right? So my children attend a charter school, and the charter school that they attend is a BPS system. But it's not a BPS system when they don't want it to be. Like, when it benefits the children. We're not BPS. We're like an independent school. But it's like, we want them dollars. We're a BPS system. And so one of the difficulties that, last week was midterms for a lot of students, including my own. Aside from midterms, somebody just tweeted online, like, we just all need a break. Like, it need to be a timeout, not a Monday holiday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Like, everybody just need a day off. We need a national, just a day off. Not one Zoom call, not one, however you log on online to have a meeting about a mother meeting. We just need a day off. And so BPS honored, today is Wednesday. On Monday, Tuesday, one of these damn days, the kids were supposed to be out of school early, 2 hours early, and BPS children were released 2 hours early. My children had to stay for the whole day. Monday, my kids had to stay for the whole damn day of school, the whole day. And I would also like to say that aside from being snowed in, I dropped off food on Monday to our elders. You guys know I have an affinity for elders, and so that is where I was. On Monday, and then yesterday was a snow day. But I wrote a really passionate letter to the school because it was too much for me. Like, it was way too much. I saw the children struggling with their midterms. Aside from struggling with their midterms, everybody else, all of their friends get 2 hours early dismissal. And them 2 hours mean something. That's 2 hours of whatever. Then you have to take into account that a lot of these children have to shovel whatever it is that they have to do. There's like a lot of responsibilities that our young people have. Period. I know Anari and Asaria do. When I get home, I want the bathroom clean. I want your laundry done. Like, they have responsibilities. And I'm not even a hard-ass parent like some of these other parents that are like, nah, like, you have to mop the floor, you wipe down the counter. Like, so I was really frustrated, and I wrote a disrespectfully yours, Tayla Andre letter, and BCC'd some people on it, so don't be surprised if you see it circulating amongst the news channels. Like, I'm so serious. The principal, woosah, we won't. I want to, but I won't. We'll leave that right there. And like, this is the year of your voice. Use your voice, utilize your voice, and be the catalyst for change that you want to see, because no one is saving us. There is no one coming to save us, period, ever, never. There never was. All these Disney Channel movies got you effed up. It's a lie. No one is coming to sweep you off your feet with a white horse and a white picket fence. No one is coming to save you, save your situation, save your, like, it's not going to happen. You have to save your own damn self. And that's really what SOS stand for. Save yourself. Your own self. I'm sorry, it's really cold in here. Shameless plug, if you like the sweater, it's on the website. Aside from that, I want to know, like, how did you spend your snow day? What did you do? What would you do if you had a day off? If you just had a timeout, day off, no, not one damn Zoom, what would you do with your day? How would you conduct yourself? Let's go ahead and really quickly, 5, 4, 3, 2. Today is Ayanna Presley's birthday. So if you are in the Congresswoman's district, or if you're not and you just love some Ayanna Presley because she's slick at the mouth and like, she's a poet. She's a poetic. She's a poetress. Like, every time she speaks, it just flows so eloquently out of her mouth. It's not pre-written, it's just from her heart. And so shout out to Ayanna Presley. Today is her birthday, and so shout out to my Congresswoman, the 7th Congressional District. I am so proud of her. I met her many moons ago through Chica Project, and I love. I love what she stands for. I love how slick her mouth is. I love how how gracefully disrespectful she is. And that's a level of petty that I aspire to be. Absolutely. That is the level of petty that I aspire to be. For me to cuss you all the way out with a smile on my face and a twinkle in my eye, and for you not to even know until 2 weeks later that you just been fully disrespected. That is my aspiration of petty. So happy birthday to Ayanna Presley. Make sure you head over to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. She on social media, so go on and hit her up. In a lot, I tell y'all over and over again, if y'all really want to contact somebody, as far as like the contact us now, reach out to us, customer service, get on Twitter and watch whatever your complaint is be like almost instantly taken care of. Good rising. Hey, Tamika. I love me some you. What's going on in Birmingham? I might come back real quick. I need to leave. What's going on, Jess Bland? Good rising. You want to hear some music? Oh, if I had a day off, it would just be music. Would you be cleaning? Because, you know, music puts you in the mood to, like, organize some stuff, throw out some stuff, clean some stuff. What would you do on your day off? Completely just a day off. As far as news is concerned, are you guys aware that the Reggie Lewis Center is about to be
we're seeing a huge difference when it comes to race and ethnicity, according to the state.
So for those who don't know, the site is part of a partnership between the city and Roxbury Community College to make the vaccine accessible to areas that have particularly been hit by the coronavirus. All appointments that were made for the original opening day of February 1st at the Reggie Lewis Track and Athletic Center in Roxbury Community College were automatically rescheduled for next Monday, February 8th. The clinic will operate at about 1,000 appointments per week. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh said that the Reggie Lewis Center is poised to ramp up capacity to become the city's second mass vaccination site. The first open was Fenway Park on Monday. So the site is part of a partnership between Roxbury Community College and the city in order to make vaccine accessible to areas that have been hit the hardest by the pandemic. As of January 17th, the neighborhood had a cumulative coronavirus positivity rate of 10.3%. Surrounding areas have rates as high as 16.3%, according to the Boston Public Health Commission. Massachusetts started vaccinated residents 75 years or older on Monday and has entered the second phase of COVID-19 vaccine plan, joining first responders, healthcare workers, and residents of long-term care facilities who were eligible in the phase one. Appointments opened up. They had about 75 last week, but efforts were tampered by this non-existent snowstorm that we have. It was not a snowstorm. Yo, if you're over the age of 30 years old, you remember 12 inches and still having to put on your boots, put on your snowsuit, put on your coat, your gloves, your scarf, your mittens, your hat, whatever it is that you had, and take your ass outside and get to the bus stop. Because I know I had to. Shoot, these kids get to... But I support all of the kids in all of their days off or early dismissal because they really, truly deserve it. I don't know how these kids sit on a damn Zoom call 8 hours a day, all day. And what did Inari tell me yesterday? That it be going down in a chat. So teachers have recently shut off the private chat, so you can't private chat nobody. If you talk, you have to talk like open to the public. You can't like individually chat up. And so they've been like going back and forth in the chat, and the teachers are like, I'm shutting down the chat, but they can't shut down the chat, or then you have to open up everyone's microphone. Yo, it's hilarious just reading the chats, because my kids are weird. They let me, like, I am one of the kids. Sometimes. But shout out to the young people that are finding ways to make it fun when it's not. In Braintree, a public vaccination site opened on Wednesday. The community set up a website and a phone bank to help make things easier for residents. Charles Cocoros, the mayor, said, I feel like it's important that citizens of the community get vaccinated if they wish to be vaccinated. And so this is New England. We know it's going to happen sooner or later, and we want to be a part of it, said the CIC Health Chief Marketing and Experience Officer, Rodrigo Martinez. It's no problem. We have the slots. We have the doses. So let's just make it happen. And so if that's what you're interested in, if you want to get the vaccine is open and ready for you. And right now we're in phase one. So like it's all about the elders. After the elders, it's the healthcare workers and people who work with the elderly in the first responders. And then after that, it's rolled out and you can, come out and get your vaccine if that's what you choose to do. So I support, if that's what you want to do, I support what you want. Whatever you want is what I want for you. So Baker's administration is pushing Massachusetts businesses to vaccinate employees. The Health and Human Services Secretary, Mary Lou Sutters, is among the officials working with employers on a vaccination plan. I personally do not agree with this nonsensical nonsense. And the reason why I don't agree with it is because it's completely different. If you want to talk to companies and say, hey, let's make this work, that's different. But to make it mandatory, like, there's no words. There's nothing to say. It should not be mandatory. You don't make people do anything. If that was the case, you know what I would make people do? Massachusetts State Police Sergeant charged with assaulting his girlfriend. The reason why I think this story is so important is because there are the statistics of police officers in domestic violence situations as far as that being at home are extremely high. And if we were to take a look at how many police officers engage in domestic violence and look at their record as far as being overly aggressive in the streets in which they police, I think there should be some type of policy that pairs the two together. Because if you have any type of domestic violence situation in and out of court, if the police had to come to your house for a domestic violence situation, you don't need to be the police. Period. Like, for real. End of story. There's nothing else to say. You don't need to be the police if you don't want, if police got to come to you to break up a family fight. It speaks volumes of your character. A judge ordered a Massachusetts State Police Sergeant Tuesday to remain jailed without bail on charges of assaulting a girlfriend in her New Hampshire home after she told him she wanted to end their relationship. The attorneys for Sergeant Brian Erickson, 38 years old, entered a not guilty plea on his behalf on charges of second-degree and simple assault, obstructing report of a crime, disobeying an officer, criminal trespass, and reckless operation. The judge also ordered that Erickson be evaluated for his possible release into the community, and his hearing is scheduled for February 10th. And he allegedly said, "I don't care if it hurts you," and he wrapped her arms around her on the bed and knelt on her upper thighs area so she could barely breathe and could not move, and he put his hands on her neck and one of his fingers down her throat to stop her from screaming. Okay. He said prosecutor Joe Cook argued against Erickson's release, saying that he would endanger the safety of the woman and the public. Garrity said that Erickson is a danger, flies in the face of all that he's done in the past. He said that it's his understanding that if Erickson were to violate any bail conditions, which includes having contact with a woman, he would go from being suspended, which he currently is, he would go from being suspended to immediately terminated. And so she called the police and he hung up the phone, and that's where the obstruction to report a crime comes into place. And so I don't think he needs at all to be just on, he needed to be terminated altogether, period. Racial disparities in vaccines is really troubling as far as Massachusetts is concerned. And it's only 2.6% of coronavirus vaccines have gone to Black residents, with 2.8 going to Asians and 3.3 going to Hispanics. And so just under 20% have gone out to those who identify as multiracial. And then the numbers plummet, and white residents have received 36% of the vaccines. 20% again are multiracial. And from what I understand, you can be multiracial if you are freaking Asian and white. You could any combination is multiracial. So don't think for 5 seconds multiracial is people that are half black, half white. It's anything on the spectrum that's multiple race. So 3.3% for Latinos, 2.8% for Asians, and 2.6% for Black Americans. We're trying to get these vaccines into arms, pun intended, as quickly as possible, said Michael Curry of the Massachusetts League of Community Health Centers. Unfortunately, they're going into the arms that are not closest to the disease, and many of them are Black and brown, are dying at higher rates, and it is disturbing, he said. Dr. Monica Burrell, the commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, said, "I understand that trust is important, and having individuals who are trusted in the community share the message is critical for us, as well as making sure that we have sites that are equitably distributed across the Commonwealth." And so I have heard multiple reports, like Brockton isn't doing well, Lawrence isn't doing well, New Bedford, Fall River, like all of the lower income areas or the hoods or the slums, however you want to call it, aren't doing well with the vaccine rollout. And from what I understand, the Reggie Lewis Center will have Black doctors, Black nurses, Black greeters. So when Black people walk through the door, they can have a level of confidence and, trust because they see their own kind. But again, I want to rewind and talk about like what's actually in the vaccine. Was that made by a Black doctor? Was it tested on Black people that were like, had the courage to get tested? Because I was not one of them. In other news, Tesla finally recalls the 135 vehicles over the touchscreen failure. So we have discussed this ever since it came out that the United States government was like, yo, can you please take these Teslas back? Because the touchscreen ain't working. The touchscreen is the entire vehicle. Like the car ain't working. And so Tesla was like, nah, we ain't taking those back. The hell? Nah, ain't nothing wrong with them. The power steering and the what are those axles was broke in China. He was like, it's the Asians, they can't drive. So I'm so happy that finally someone is being held accountable and they are recalling these Tesla vehicles. 135,000 vehicles with touchscreen problems here in the United States, which is crazy. So I'm really excited that the Model S and the Model X vehicles, because of their large touchscreen failure, the recall applies to some 2012 through 2018 Model S and 16 through 18 Model X's. Under the recall, which will begin on March 30th. So what you supposed to do for the next 2 months? What you doing for the next 2 months with your broken touchscreen? I want to make sure that my payments, like I'm not paying for these months. These months need to be shaved off my Tesla. Yo, I told y'all in 2021, I'm coming for everybody. The Tesla must notify owners. Beginning on March 30th, Tesla must notify owners of cars with failure-prone touchscreens and replace a computer chip that controls the screen. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration considers this to be a safety issue because without functioning center screens, drivers lose the display for the car's backup camera, the controls for the window defroster and defogger. Even in its correspondence with NHTSA agreeing to recall, Tesla noted that it was aware of no crashes related to the problem and said vehicles could still be safely operated without the screen. The screen is literally the whole car. So if we could just remind him, this pleases me very well because being a traveler that I am back and forth from the north to the south and being a driver, good rising. How you doing? Exactly. Good old Boston. So North Carolina will no longer issue. They didn't say they recalling. They said they will no longer issue the Confederate flag license plates. The sons of the Confederate veterans are outraged, as they should be. And so North Carolina has finally decided not to issue a license with a racist symbol in 2021. The North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles announced that it will no longer issue or renew license plates with the Confederate flag. The government issued specialty plate had previously been made available to the group Sons of the Confederate Veterans. The agency said in a statement that the Division of Motor Vehicles has determined that license plates bearing the Confederate battle flag have a potential to offend those who view them. We have therefore concluded the display of the Confederate battle flag is inappropriate for display on specialty license plates, which remain property of the state. The change began on January 1st, and members of the Son of the Confederate Veterans who have been fighting to keep the racist symbol on license plates since the 1990s. Nobody is coming to save you. They still gonna have them damn flags on the back of their pickup trucks, though. them big ass 4 by 6 foot Confederate flags just waving on the back of their pickup trucks. And so the change began on January 1st. From the 1990s, they've been fighting to keep it, and they've kept it for the last 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020. So how long is that? 30 years? No one is coming to save you. They complained they didn't know the change until their renewals were denied. According to reports, the commander-in-chief of the Sons of the Confederate Veterans said in an interview that what we see here is an attack of American history. We live in an era where all it takes is for one or a couple of people to say, I'm offended, yet the majority has kowtow to it? Kowtow? What is kowtow? That's a southern thing. What is a kowtow? Kowtow.
Kowtow. Kowtow.
Oh, okay. I did say it right. Kowtow. To historically kneel and touch the ground with the forehead in worship or submission as part of Chinese custom. Oh, so he ain't dumb if he know a whole that. I had no idea what that is, but it's basically like actually kneeling. And I didn't know it was an Asian custom. I would have assimilating it to like a Muslim tradition, how like Muslims pray like that. I would have kowtow. Okay, learn something new every day. North Carolina was one of the several southern states that offered the plates with the Confederate battle flag to the members of the group Sons of the Confederate Veterans. The state said it would continue to recognize the Sons of the Confederate Veterans as a civic organization, which entitles the group to a specialty plate, but it just can't have the Confederate flag on it. So trust and believe that going to be very similar to the Confederate flag, even though it may not be the Confederate flag. In international news, Nigerian security forces shot protesters, and they are not facing justice. So no evidence emerged at a judicial panel, but the culture of impunity still continues. And so this is about a 7-minute read. But what I'll say is new evidence testifying before the panel last week, a surgeon from a hospital that treated wounded protesters disputed a key part of the military's defense. Babahaji Lawson, a trauma surgeon at Lagos Reddington Hospital, confirmed that he treated patients for gunshot wounds, adding that his unit was overwhelmed with mass casualties on the night of October 20th, 2020. But the hospital failed to submit the case files, potentially undermining key evidence. This is not the first time the panel's investigation has been frustrated. Last year, the judges were forced to pay an unannounced visit to the crime scene to personally inspect bullet castings, forcing the Army to admit that it had used live ammunition. In the past, military officials have given confusing testimony, and this time they simply just did not show up. So no accountability. If the panel fails to hold the military account, Nigeria's security forces could continue to benefit from the impunity that they have long enjoyed. Judicial inquiries have well-meaning, but they are often a toothless exercise in a procedure that rather than vehicles for just delivering justice. So between 2009 and 2018, Nigeria hosted over 20 different such inquiries meant to investigate everything from Boko Haram to vigilante violence, which was also abused by the security forces. The perpetrators, as Amnesty International found, were rarely held accountable. Last year's protest forced President Muhammadu Buhari to disband the SARS unit. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to SARS, but this SARS is like our FBI, but not really, because they only target young people with cars. So SARS started, but y'all, like, let's keep it real. So first of all, y'all know Nigerians are crazy and will call you and scam you out of your own toothbrush. Like they're I don't know, they're charismatic, they're smart, they make you feel some type of way. You're like, here's my whole life savings. And so it is, stereotypical of Nigerians to be scam artists. And so a lot of scam artists were taking advantage of people in the United States, taking advantage of people in Nigeria. And so SARS began in order to combat the fact that scamming is a real thing. And so that was the point of SARS, SARS. But what they found was SARS was beginning to abuse their power. So young people who were actually working and making good money and were engineers and were doctors, and regardless of what it is that they did, they made money, they had cars, they had jewelry, and SARS was coming and pulling them over, ripping them out of their car, taking their car from them, stealing their jewelry, and nobody was being held accountable for this nonsensical nonsense. And so what they have is a youth revolution coming, like hell nah, we won't, like, this is unacceptable. The youth are now aware of their power more than ever, a power they can exercise in the next election for 2023, and so they want SARS done with. They want it over with. And so I will continue following this story. And I think it's important for all of us to pay attention to what's going on in Africa, because little do you know, Africans, I posted a picture on my IG story of like 3 African presidents. Don't ask me which ones they are because I am ignorant in African politics, but it was 3 African presidents who were standing in front of a cauldron of coins, of gold coins. And then in the background, it was an Asian guy with a wheelbarrow in Africa, in chained to the wheelbarrow. And I'm like, yo, do Africans really feel like this? And mad people responded on Twitter that yes, Africans do feel like that. Cape Verde is one of the countries that's being completely invaded by Chinese. And so while the Chinese have immunity to different type of taxes, the Cape Verdeans that are bringing in exports are having to pay exorbitant fees while the Asians are tax exempt. And so they're getting all of these benefits for coming in and bringing in all these imports, but yet the Cape Verdeans alone, like, this is why it's so important for us to pay attention. So all of the Nigerians here in America need to like tell your friends to pay attention to what's going on in Nigeria. All the Cape Verdeans here need to talk about what's going on in Cabo Verde. Like, we really need to pay attention to what's going on globally, because there is the city of Miami is considering giving its employees the opportunities to get their salaries paid in Bitcoin. Like, I need you to understand that we have this very limited scope as specifically black people. Black people look through a damn pigeonhole. I don't know what a pigeonhole is, but if it's anything like a pigeon pea, it's small as hell. And so we are over here looking through this pigeonhole while the entire world and the entire globe is looking at a 360-degree view. We are only looking at today, where other demographics are looking at 30 and 40 years down the line. We're focused on how much money we're making today and how much we can put in our pocket today, and everybody else is trying to figure out how they can make their grandchildren rich. Like, we need to start paying attention to the bigger picture. Miami is considering paying city employees in Bitcoin. I don't think you really hear what I'm trying to tell you. In addition to Bitcoin salaries, the city is also considering allowing local fees and taxes to be paid in Bitcoin or in some other currency. The city's treasury may also place some of its investment capital into Bitcoin, which would be the first of all major cities in the United States. While in exact percentage or absolute terms, Miami's Mayor Francis Serratos hasn't gotten an exact figure of how much investments he wants to place, yet he knows he wants to structure it in a public-private partnership where private partners can take some of the reward for defraying risk from the public side. In a hypothetical example with arbitrary numbers, the city would invest $250,000 in public funds to a fund that would be supplemental to $750,000 in private Bitcoin from their large investors. From 3 large investors. The private investors would get the first funds out of guarantee for their return, while the city would benefit from anything that's left. Listen to what is being said and see with a wider scope, instead of looking through this little tiny pigeonhole that sees absolutely nothing. Like, I want us to get the bigger picture. So Minneapolis police must now keep their body cameras activated at all times when responding to a call. But I can absolutely foresee the future and say that there's going to be a problem, because some of the, when they're responding to a call? What about when they're pulling people over? What about when they're off-duty police officers beating on their girlfriends, sticking their fingers down their throat, choking the shit out of them, talking about something, I don't care if it hurt you. That was a little bit of a tangent and all the way to the left. Strengthening accountability and increasing transparency has been the cornerstones of our community's safety work, said Mayor Frey in a statement. This update helps leadership provide a more complete and accurate picture during and after incidents and puts officers in a better position to hold each other accountable. Accountability is not achieved with any single solution, but changes like this move us towards an even more transparent approach to public safety and building trust with communities that we serve. I'll wait and see how that happens. Oh, I closed out another window I didn't mean to close. So can we please talk really quickly about this thing called Groundhog Day? So 8 surprising things you did not know about Groundhog Day. The Germans started the whole Groundhog Day thing. To see his shadow or not concept stems from the German holiday Candlemas. Early European Christians believed that if the sun came out on Candlemas, which is also February 2nd, then winter would last for another 6 weeks. They say that groundhogs can really predict the end of winter because groundhogs hibernate. And because groundhogs hibernate, when they wake up, it's like, oh, it's warm enough to go outside, but we just got snow. So I'm wondering how you think it's acceptable to come out yet, because I don't even want to come outside. So his name is, I'm not even going to say Punxsutawney Phil. However you say that man's name, that's only his nickname. So his full name is Punxsutawney Phil, seer of seers, sages of sage, prognosticator of prognosticators, weather prophet extraordinaire is what they named the damn. These folks are crazy, first and foremost. The original Groundhog Day involved eating the groundhogs. After sightseers celebrated whether or not the groundhog saw his shadow, in 1886, they all would head over to Gobbler's Knob to dine on a feast made of various groundhog dishes that some people thought was good, not me. He is not the only weather predictor. There are a few, like New York has one, Atlanta has one, North Carolina and Birmingham has one as well. Flipping a coin is more accurate than the damn groundhog. And so the National Climate Data Center compared U.S. national temperatures from 1988 to 2012 to determine the accuracy of the groundhog's predictions. And he's only been proven correct 39% of the time, which means that head or tails could tell you better whether or not the winter is going to last longer. And there was another fun fact that I wanted to tell you. I forgot. But, you know how they do like Indian summer? I've never understood Indian summer. And when you think, hold on, pause. Indian summer. I don't want the definition. I want the history. The origination of the term Indian summer first appeared over 200 years ago. The haziness of the Indian summer weather was caused by prairie fires deliberately set by Native American tribes. It was a period when First Nations Native American people harvested their crops. I did not know that. Then why do we keep saying it? So instead of it being fall, it was Indian summer. But in that same vein, as far as like Indians are concerned, or Native Americans, First Nation folks, there was a story that I found that I wanted to read regarding Thomas Fallon. So in liberal activists urged San Jose to melt the statue of former Mayor Thomas Fallon for planting American flag in the city to claim land from Mexico in 1846. And so residents want to remove the city statue of San Jose, the 10th mayor. Nearly 150 people attended the forum to voice their concerns about the statue. Only one of the attendees appeared to be like, we're erasing history. Oh my gosh, the Confederate flag, all of that nonsensical nonsense. And so if you don't know who Thomas Fallon was born in Ireland in 1825, joined the 1845 Third Expedition led by John C. Fairmont, a military officer who committed a number of massacres against Native American First Nation folks to explore what is now considered the American West. The War Department tasked Fremont with surveying mountainous areas, including the Central Rockies and the Sierra Nevada, and to turn his scientific expedition into a military force if war started with Mexico. Fallon chose to stay in Santa Cruz after visiting the area with the expedition on the brink of the Mexican-American War. When the war broke out in 1846, 5 years before California joined the Union, Fallon appointed himself, recruited 22 volunteers to join Fremont's military forces. Fallon and his men charged into El Pueblo de San Jose de Guadalupe, which is now San Jose, on July 11th, 1846, but discovered the local Mexican general had vacated the premises 2 days earlier. 3 days earlier, John D. Sloat, who claimed California for the United States, sent Fallon an American flag, which he ceremoniously flew over the city, declaring it for the United States. Fallon and his volunteers then joined Fremont, California's battalion for the rest of the war, and he became mayor of San Jose in 1859. The Irishman, who worked as a hotel and saddle shop owner in Santa Cruz, married his first wife, Carmel Fallon, in 1849, with whom they had 9 children, and 3 of them died of cholera. I would just like to say that God is a gracious God, and I will keep my comments to myself. What I was going to say is, I will keep my comments to myself. So Hispanic Americans have long called for the statue to be dedicated to Fallon to be removed based on his treatment of Native Americans, Mexicans, and being part of Fremont's genocidal expeditions. And so American colonists enslaved, kidnapped, raped, and murdered at least 9,500 California natives between 1849 and 1870. And those are just the numbers that we actually know about, and not the mass graves that are buried and people that were missing, period. I will keep the rest of my comments to myself. 2 Atlanta cops who pulled 2 black students from a car during a Black Lives Matter protest and tasered them are reinstated to their jobs after the review board finds that the city did not follow its own procedures when it fired them. So Atlanta's Civil Service Board overturned the dismissal of Ivory Streeter. Both of them are black men, Ivory Streeter and Mark Gardner, on Monday. The board said that the city did not follow its own personal procedures in the firings. Both Streeter and Gardner are still facing charges of aggravated assault for the May 30th altercation. The officers confronted Messiah Young and Tiana Pilgrim as they were stuck in traffic after curfew declared by the mayor during the George Floyd protest. Police body camera footage showed that the officers shouting at the college students, firing tasers at them, and dragging them out of the car. All of us saw the footage, and they are being reinstated because the city didn't do right. The truth of the matter, that's the only reason. Prosecutors claim that George Floyd cop Derek Chauvin choked and knelt on 6 other people during their arrest dating back to 2015. The former Minneapolis cop Derek Chauvin is faced with second-degree manslaughter charges over the death of George Floyd, but other people are coming out and saying that 3 other people shared their accounts with the Marshall Project in an article published on Tuesday. They described how he pinned them down and restricted their ability to breathe while ignoring their pleas for relief. So this is not the first time, but we have had this conversation many times where if you have... if I'm coming to you as internal investigation and I, as internal investigation, am making a complaint, why are you not taking the complaint seriously? Some of these officers that end up being charged for such and such doing this and such doing that have complaint after complaint after complaint, but nobody's listening to the complaints. It's like, oh, he was just doing his job. You were resisting arrest. It is in my nature as a human being to resist arrest, especially when I did nothing wrong. But that's neither here or there. You're just supposed to submit and, go to jail and then fight it with the money that you may or may not have. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared war on big tech cartels and will protect politicians from being banned with $100,000 a day fines for companies that exclude candidates. So Governor DeSantis proposed the Transparency in Technology Act on Tuesday, including a number of measures. The act aims to introduce big tech laws. The proposal comes week after former President Donald Trump was banned off Twitter. Conservatives have long accused social media companies and other tech giants of harboring bias against them and exacerbating the fallout of the January 6th riots. So if I can say something that is not going to be extremely popular opinion, I believe it is 100% right for us to hold big tech accountable. And the reason why I think we should hold big tech accountable is because if you take a look at any of the stories that we've been reading over the last couple of months, let's talk about Tesla and the woman who was fired, who is now in arbitration, and they're saying, no, we may possibly remove arbitration so people can sue these companies. Let's take a look at, was it Google? I believe it was Google, and they were fighting against, correct me if I'm wrong, or we might have to go back and rewatch a show or just, Google some other things. But if I'm correct, Google was fighting against the employees forming a union. You know what? I think there's an article that I pulled up. No. This is not it. I'm gonna have to find it, but there was something else that came up with Google and the tech company stopping the people from unionizing because they felt like the tech giant was being embedded with government and was using people's personal information incorrectly. And it was just like tech was in bed with government and wasn't doing right by the people. And so we really need to control that. There are questions that need to be asked and answered. And I don't think we understand just how much tech has a hand in what we can and can't do. We have given up our entire life in order to interact with these things. Our entire life, our freedoms, our phones, our tech, everything that's in here is for public for government consent. Like, they can at any point in time pull whatever they want, and we have completely given all of ourselves away. Google is to pay $2.5 million to more than 5,500 underpaid female engineers and overlooked Asian applicants to settle race and sex discrimination cases. So Google will pay $1.3 million to 2,500 female engineers in the settlement. And that's crazy. 2,500. I know. I want $1 million for every dollar you gave that white man that you failed to give me. Like, y'all asking for too little. Google, $2.5 million from Google is like, yo, can I get $2? Hey, yo, you got $2? Can I get $2? Like, nah. Bust them wide open in the head. Who the hell are these attorneys? Who are these judges? You know $2.5 million ain't ish. And then another $1.23 million will go to 1,700 women and Asian unsuccessful applicants. The settlement brings an end to discrimination allegations from 2014 to 2018. But we just had read the entire thread from she's a gay black woman off Twitter who was just like, listen, I was the first one who brought a historically black college and university student through the doors of Google. Google ain't been doing right for years. And this was 2018. So what about the new allegations from 2018 to 2022? We're going to continue to see this type of nonsense playing out over and over again. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. Black Lives Matter protesters tear down the barricade and storm Rochester police station after cops pepper spray a 9-year-old girl and told her she was acting like a child, bitch, because she is. I'm sorry, I cussed. Black Lives Matter protesters demonstrated outside of Rochester police station. Demonstrators overturned the barricades as they protested the pepper spraying of a 9-year-old girl on Monday. Officers can be seen in the body camera footage spraying a chemical irritant in the face of a distraught, handcuffed 9-year-old girl that had been suspended from school. The city of Rochester did not specify how many officers have been suspended. Suspensions will last at least until the internal police investigation has investigated themselves and found that they did absolutely nothing wrong. At one point, an officer is heard telling her to stop acting like a child, and she cried, "I am a child." You already know, as a parent, is going down, not in the DM. God, my mouth, God, my hands. Okay, so Robinhood takes out a full-page New York Times ad claiming it is humbled and has always been put customers first as Congress prepares hearings and GameStop shares plunge 60%. But remember, I told him, I was like, yo, I should go get some puts for GameStop. And he was like, Tayla, don't do that. Yo, I could be sitting on millions right now. Maybe not millions, maybe a couple 100,000, maybe tens of thousands. I should have just put the puts. That's what I should have done. I should have just paid the $450 and got a couple puts and watched GameStop plummet. And so Robinhood took out a full-page ad on Tuesday's Time saying it is humbled. The online brokerage faces scrutiny after limiting the purchases of certain stocks. Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor, should have been on board with making sure that we, the people, get all of this money that these hedge funds been having billions of dollars access to for all of these years. And so now executives will have to appear before Congress in hearings on the matter. It came as small investors on Reddit drove a buying frenzy in meme stocks. GameStop shares have dropped in the early trading on Tuesday, as has AMC and Silver, which is a completely different debacle. The real wolf on Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, says that the stock market has undergone a paradigm shift and praises the little guy investors who cost hedge funds billions of dollars. And so thank you, Jordan, for loving what has been taking place. And I do enjoy this paradigm shift because that means that me and you can win while these billionaires are still making money as well. And so in other news, Oh, what I wanted to finish, DeSantis said when 2.8 million Americans started using Parler, it was canceled by companies that hosted it or sold the app to their digital stores. What about the 88 million Americans who choose to follow Donald Trump on Twitter? Regardless of whatever his content is, you can't just control that. So the Transparency in Technology Act, we can no longer let big tech companies to operate in darkness while manipulating social media, a kind of 21st century public square. And so by giving them the power to opt out of post promotion and shadow banning algorithms, stopping frequent changes to terms of use, and requiring communication and consent for terms of use changes, requiring large-scale social media companies to notify users with 30 days of any changes, or to notify users within 30 days if they are censored or deplatformed, stopping them from arbitrarily censoring and deplatforming users, requiring them to publish and consistently apply standards for using, censoring, shadow banning, and deplatforming. The bill creates enforcement tools by letting users sue social media platforms if they don't consistently apply their standards or give required notice. One of the other things that I want to bring up is Facebook, Instagram, everybody has changed their algorithms. I have family members that literally have to come look for me in order to like something or to look at my status. Shout out to Reggie B. Reggie B has been in studios with me. Reggie B has been, you and I got work. Now, roll up your sleeve because you and I got work to do. I got it right, Reggie B. But Reggie B has not been able to find me for any show that we do. And he's like, Tayla, I thought you were going live. I'm like, I'm live. It's on my page. And he's like, I can't see you. And so I have been kicked off time and time again. The algorithms are absolutely crazy. And I have contacted Facebook and Instagram because I take out Facebook and Instagram ads. And I noticed my ads weren't doing the numbers that they projected that they would do. And I'm like, listen, you're going to end up paying me 3 times the damage of what I've already paid, because it makes no sense why my own family cannot see me and they like and comment on statuses. The algorithm is really messed up. And so I'm so glad that somebody is finally holding big tech accountable. And even though, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, even though they are doing this in response to Donald Trump, a lot of us are going to benefit, because I can tell you now, if you follow Tayla Andre, then there has been a point in time where Facebook has put you on timeout for 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days, because that's just what they do. If they don't like something that you said or who you talked about or they'll stop. And that's ridiculous. They shouldn't have that power. What happened to free speech? Unless I'm over here talking about I'm going to actually do harm to someone, there shouldn't be no reason why I'm banned, period. Especially, they banned me one time when I posted the picture of the black man that was burnt. I can't think of his name right now, but it's the one when he's on the ground burnt and there's a little white girl that's just smiling in the picture. And that was once upon a time a $1 postcard that white folks sent to each other on Tuesdays. How are you mad at me posting it and saying, yo, this is Black History? And another thing, don't inbox me nothing about Black History Month. Tayla, you didn't Black History this. I Black History every damn day. So February don't mean nothing to me, first and foremost. And if you want to sit, everybody who inbox me, I'm like, yo, do you practice 7 quantum principles during the week, or do you only practice 7 quantum principles during Christmas? If you practice 7 days a week, then we could talk about how I'm lacking in Black history. But until you practice quantum principles 7 days a week, don't come to me talking about no damn Black History Month, because I'm black all year round. Did you know Saved by the Bell, Screech, the little nerd with the suspenders, he died. He actually died. He was stage 4 small cell lung cancer. The actor reportedly had a large lump on his neck and was hesitant about having it seen by a doctor for fear of attracting public attention. His girlfriend, Tosh Jules, eventually persuaded him to go to the hospital to have the lump inspected, and she was by his side when he died on Monday. According to reports, Diamond is set to be cremated and did not want a headstone because he was afraid it would be vandalized. Oh my God, that's horrible. He was casted as Samuel Screech Powell. Powers on Saved by the Bell when he was just 11 years old. The role catapulted Diamond into international stardom, and he spent his teen years in the spotlight. But his career floundered following the conclusion of a series that he battled a sex tape scandal, substance abuse issues, and high-profile court cases. On Christmas of 2014, he got into a bar fight and stabbed a man in a town near Milwaukee, and he served 3 months in prison. Despite trying to audition for other roles, he found himself being typecast as a Screech-style geek characters that Saved by the Bell defined him his entire life. The hardest thing about being a child star is giving up your childhood. You don't get a childhood. And that Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson. And so with that being said, we are coming to the top of the hour, and we have an amazing guest today. And hey, family. Good rising. I pray that all is well with you and your family, and I appreciate you and all that you do. And I pray that everything is well with you and your family, and I appreciate what you do, regardless of what it is that you do. You know, whether it's raising good kids so they're not out here doing all types of dumbery, or whether it, hey, Chanel Remy, what's going on, ma? Or whether it's just being a good Samaritan and doing right by your neighbors. Thank you for what you do. I'm not the only one who do something. And so we're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about Project Citizenship. And so I am really excited. In my previous role of being an on-air personality, Veronica Serrato was like the face for Project Citizenship, and she disclosed to me that with my help, we were able to help 70 green card holders become citizens. And so I am really excited to be a part of Project Citizenship and to bring into light anybody who has a green card. If you have an auntie with a green card, a cousin with a green card, do you know how many of our friends and family are not citizens, cannot vote? They have their green card. They've had their green card for 20 years, for 25 years, but they currently are not citizens, and they can and will be able to have some type of financial assistance. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and when we return, we will talk about Project Citizenship and why we need to help everybody become a citizen so they can vote. And with that being said, I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you.
The People Station.
What is that?
Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for 1 class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
What is this, Doctor?
This is
The Spark of New England. Spark FM.
Bringing the heat back to the airwaves.
Turn us up.
All right, let's take a look.
Lord have mercy. Finally Home is a must-read step-by-step guide that will equip any first-time home buyer with the knowledge they need to confidently make informed decisions. This book provides answers in simple and clear terms to most, if not all, of the questions you may have about credit, home ownership, and generational wealth. Finally Home equips the reader with the confidence to be engaged with the home buying process without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tayla made real estate easy is not just a catchy hashtag. It is real estate agent and radio personality Tayla Andre's goal. A goal to simplify one of the most challenging processes you will go through as an adult. A goal to educate you properly on credit and teach you the strategies to finding the home of your dream. It is not just a good book or an easy read. It is the secret to a seamless home buying experience.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TaylaAndre@thumbprintrealty.com. Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. I am attempting to be mindful of the things that I put into my body. And that includes what I eat, drink, and think about what I wear, what I put in my hair, what I put on my face. Did you know that your skin is the largest organ on your body? And so whatever you use as far as lotions or oils are concerned is being absorbed by your entire body. And so we have come to the top of the hour. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. We are talking about Project Citizenship, and in my capacity as a radio personality over the years working with Project Citizenship, I am honored to say that I have helped over 70 people become citizens. And so from green card holders to citizens, I did that. I'm really excited, and I hope that we can get 70 more, if not more people to become citizens. And so the process is really easy. And we have Erin Fricker to speak with us today on projectcitizenship.org. And so anytime that you want to do your own due diligence, go to projectcitizenship.org. Good rising, Erin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am super fantastic. And so we've in the past have had Veronica Serrato on air many times and had conversations with her, and she gave me that number. So it could be higher, it could be lower, but she was just like, Tayla, I wanted to let you know. And I also saw that as far as you guys gave thanks to me in one of the leaflets that you had of like, I think it was the end of year summary of everything that has been done. And so I am very, very honored, and I hope that we can continue a partnership and do this, if not once a month, then quarterly, so we can get people who are green card holders into citizenship. And so I am familiar with the program, but there are a lot of people who are not. So what is a green card holder?
Sure. A person who has a green card is technically called a legal or lawful permanent resident. So it's the type of immigration status that they have. So it used to be that the physical cards used to be green. So people call them green cards, but it is their legal status in the United States. It allows somebody to live here indefinitely, but it is lesser than being a citizen. Green card holders, despite the fact that in the legal permanent resident, the word permanent is in it, they can be removed from the United States. They need a special travel document or their home country passport to travel. They should not leave the United States for more than 6 months, or they risk being there being a question as to whether they can be readmitted. So there are limitations to it, which is why we think it's important that all eligible legal permanent residents look into applying for citizenship when they can.
How many people currently have green card status here in Massachusetts?
So there are a little bit of DHS, Department of Homeland Security, provides estimates for how many green card holders are in the United States and eligible for citizenship. And that number is over 9 million. In Massachusetts, there's over 200,000 individuals who have their green cards and have been here for long enough that they may be eligible for citizenship.
So if I have a green card, how long do I have to have my green card to be eligible? And what are some other underlying factors of my eligibility, as well as you said, some people that can be. So what would be some reasons that I would not be eligible?
Sure. So in general, the average LPR, legal permanent resident, must be in the United States as an LPR for 5 years before they can apply for citizenship. If the green card holder is married and living with a U.S. citizen, they can apply after they've been here as a green card holder for 3 years. In general, people have to be able to read, write, and speak in English to get through the examination. And they have to be able to study for a civics test. The civics test is now 20 questions, and the person has to get 12 correct. A reason that a person also has to be a person in immigration law, it's called good moral character. So they have to have good moral character for the last either 3 or 5 years. So serious criminal issues in the last 3 or 5 years can prevent somebody from being eligible to apply.
Hold on, say that last part again.
Sure. To be eligible for citizenship, immigration looks at the last 3 or 5 years of the green card holder's history here. Mm-hmm. So criminal issues in that period can prevent somebody from being eligible.
What type of criminal issues? Because if I'm of other descent, I'm most likely not white. And so there's a higher risk of me being pulled over. There's a higher risk of me being stopped and frisked. There's a higher risk of me being accused for some ish that I did not do. So what are things that what are some crimes that can prevent me as a green card holder from becoming a citizen?
Sure. So I would say first, it has, in general, it needs to be a conviction. So not simply an accusation or a stop. It has to actually progress to something that immigration considers a conviction. It is confusing because in different states, depending on the adjudication, something that doesn't sound like a conviction can be treated as a conviction for immigration purposes. So continued without a finding in Massachusetts is an adjudication that sounds like there was no finding, but it's actually a conviction for immigration purposes. So it can depend a lot on the circumstances.
So if it was thrown out or like a no contest type situation, like when you have a public pretender and they're like, just say no contest. And you're like, no contest. And the judge is like, no contest. And now all of a sudden you can't become a citizen because your public pretender done told you to do some ish that messed you up for the rest of your life.
So right. A plea of no contest does often result in a conviction for immigration purposes. So then once you know that there's been a conviction, the question is, what was the crime? Like, what was the criminal violation? There are some crimes that make people removable from the United States. And so that's the worst case scenario, right? The person right now should not apply for citizenship because they risk being placed in removal proceedings. There are some people whose crimes, they just have to wait until they age out of the period that the government looks back at. So
what's that period? How long is that?
Sure. So for most applicants, it's 5 years. For some applicants, it's 3 years.
What's the difference between some and most?
So the person that it would be 3 years is a person that's applying based on their marriage to a U.S. citizen. So they need to have been living with their U.S. citizen for the last 3 years and married to that U.S. citizen for the last 3 years. And then the look back period for their conduct is 3 years, not 5.
So hold on. This is a real ignorant question, but it's a real question, so don't judge me, right?
No.
So when people come to the United States and pay $25,000 for a wife, are they green card holders or are they something else?
So so people can come here on a fiance visa. So some people who come here because they're going to get married to someone, they may, if they are already married, they may come with a green card. If they're not yet married and they're getting married when they get here, they are likely here on a K visa. So that's not a green card yet. And they would apply for a green card after they get married.
So what is a K visa? Is that just specific to I'm finna come to the U.S. to get married?
Yes, it's a fiance visa. So there's a visa for people who are coming here to marry U.S. citizens.
Listen, the fee has just went up. It's $40,000. No, just joking. So I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but as far as like different visas are concerned, I know there was like a big hoopla when President Trump was stopping like people with coming to get their doctor. Like, I don't understand that, but can you tell what was that and why was there so much controversy surrounded by it? If you know what I'm referencing.
Sure. So during the Trump administration, there was several proposed rule changes and executive orders that that he took that caused widespread kind of panic and advocacy. So one early on was the travel ban from certain countries that people couldn't come here if they were trying to come here on certain Muslim countries. One later was there's been a lot that were in subsequent years. So more recently, there was one that affected student visas, and there was a lot of outcry, and they overturned that change.
And so it was student visas, but it was like a special student visa though, right? It wasn't like a regular student visa. It was like a student visa. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember the details of what all, but I think it was about how people were renewing their student visas. So if they had traveled and were coming from certain countries and had a student visa, that the administration was making it impossible to get back. But they quickly backed down after there was litigation filed.
I said that's what stopped it all. Okay, so let's say I don't have a green card. So I know people who came here off of somebody else's passport, and then they became citizens through, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, it was a lot easier for you to become a United States citizen. It's really difficult today for you to be a United States citizen. So one of the things that I first want to understand is if you come to the United States or you were brought to the United States as a child and you were not wrapped up into DACA, like for those that are watching or know somebody that has a status where they're not supposed to be here, what am I supposed to do? Like I want to go to school. I want to live life. I'm here. I know nothing about the country in which I came from. But I want to do things the right way because I am not Genevieve, my cousin.
So I think there's one would be to consult a real immigration attorney about whether the person has any options. TPS is a type of status, temporary protected status, where the president determines who is designated for TPS and when, what country you have to be from, and when you have to have been here since. And those change. So Syria was recently redesignated. That's an important new development. But largely, we have to wait for comprehensive immigration reform for people who aren't covered by TPS or DACA and are here without status, unless they have a family member or a job that can petition for them. They, in general, have to wait for comprehensive immigration reform.
So we already know immigration reform is no one is coming to save us. And so we have to save ourselves. And so what are some of the steps that undocumented persons can take right now?
So I would say, the only thing to do right now is to consult with an immigration attorney to find out if you have any options.
Does Project Citizenship have attorneys I can come to?
So we don't. So our focus, we have attorneys. I'm an attorney. But our focus is helping green card holders apply for citizenship. So we don't do anything else. So we don't submit family petitions. We don't do green card renewals. There are other legal services organizations in Massachusetts that do this work. But unfortunately, we are not one of them.
But do you have access to the people that I need to be in contact with?
So we provide referrals to other legal services organizations if somebody calls us and we know of a place that could help them, could give them good advice.
Y'all see this website on the bottom, Project Citizenship. I don't know who needs to hear this, but have them at least contact and say who can you refer me to? And you guys don't, regardless of who comes to you or who asks questions, y'all ain't on the phone with ICE trying to get people deported, right?
No. We are not.
And so there is some sanctuary in this conversation. Okay. And with that being said, projectcitizenship.org. All right. So take me through the different levels of citizenship. So you go from being completely undocumented, from being born an American citizen. I know there's many different statuses. Can we understand each level of status and what that person can and cannot do?
So the world of statuses is very broad. In general, non-immigrants are here for a fixed amount of time, and there's a variety of visas that they are on. So it's like an alphabet soup of a tourist visa or fiance visa or student visa. A person with a green card in general has an immigrant visa. They're here to live indefinitely. And those are the people that Project Citizenship can help apply for citizenship. A person has to be 18 years old to apply for citizenship. So the only other thing that we do is help people who derived or acquired citizenship because their parent naturalized and they were under 18. We can help those individuals apply for certificates of citizenship. So they can also apply for a U.S. passport, but the service we provide is filing a form to get a certificate of citizenship, which is the only way a child can get a permanent, non-expiring document to demonstrate that they derived or acquired citizenship because of their parents' naturalization.
So I was completely ignorant of that. So let's rewind a little bit. So I'm a parent. I came here. I did what I needed to do to become a citizen. My children are youngins under the age of 10. And so they automatically become citizens, but not 100%.
So they are citizens as a matter of law if they have green cards and they're living with you after you naturalized and are under 18. But the actual document, they don't get you as a naturalization applicant gets a naturalization certificate with your photo and your signature, and it says that you're a citizen. Your kids would still have their green cards, so they can apply for U.S. passports. Or they can come to our office and we can help them apply for a certificate of citizenship.
And these are for young people that are under the age of 18 that now need some type of certificate that says I have been naturalized through my mom or through my dad, through my parent. What if you came in, you have a green card, your parents have a green card, and you're over the age of 18?
Yes. So then you need to call us and you need to naturalize on your own. So everybody naturalizes individually. So like a married couple, even filling out the application together, there's no guarantee that everything is going to happen at the same time. Because everybody naturalizes individually. So once a child is over 18, if they have a green card and qualify, so have been here for the last 5 years, they should call us and we can screen them and help them apply for citizenship if they're eligible. I can't actually hear you.
Oh, because I'm muting myself. So we're going to take a really quick break. We're going to pay these bills. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the steps that you need to take if you are a green card holder. One of the 200,000 Massachusetts residents that are green card holders that are eligible to become a citizen. And so when we return from paying these bills, we will talk a little bit more about that. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. If it's a personal question, feel free to inbox me and I will keep you anonymous.
Igniting the airwaves. Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Finally Home is a must-read, step-by-step guide that will equip any first-time homebuyer with the knowledge they need to confidently make informed decisions. This book provides answers in simple and clear terms to most, if not all, of the questions you may have about credit, homeownership, and generational wealth. Finally Home equips the reader with the confidence to be engaged with the home buying process without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tayla Made Real Estate Easy is not just a catchy hashtag. It is real estate agent and radio personality Tayla Andre's goal. A goal to simplify one of the most challenging processes you will go through as an adult. A goal to educate you properly on credit and teach you the strategies to finding the home of your dream. It is not just a good book or an easy read. It is the secret to a seamless home buying experience.
The People Station.
What is that? What is that?
Spark FM.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. We are back, and we are talking with Project Citizenship. Thank you so much for being here today. I truly do appreciate you. Erin Fricker from projectcitizenship.org. We do have a question before we jump into the conversation of how a green card holder becomes a citizen. And so the question is, There is a gentleman who is being detained by ICE. I'm curious if Project Citizenship is able to help a person detained by ICE who has been sitting there for over a year with no court case, no movement. They have an immigration attorney who does not do much besides collect payment and don't do work to help the clients with release. This person sits in a 23-hour lockdown due to COVID outbreak at the facility. He didn't know he wasn't a citizen until he tried to apply for college scholarships. He got married totally unrelated to seeking citizenship, and his wife died from cancer. He was very close to citizenship. However, ICE snatched him off of his doorstep in Dorchester. Kevin Roll, see amplified post on We Are Power page or We Power page. Have you heard of the story? Is there anything that he can help? If he was this close to citizenship, does he have a green card? Does a green card now help him become a citizen and get better treatment?
So I'm sorry to hear about this person's story, but unfortunately we don't help people in detention or people in removal proceedings. There are legal services that do, but it sounds like he has an attorney already. And so people with attorneys already, like legal services, can't step in and replace that attorney without going through the process of ending the other representation. So I'm really sorry to hear that. There are people with green cards who are in removal proceedings, who are in detention. It's very possible to be removed even though a person has a green card, usually due to their criminal record in the United States, but sometimes due to an issue where the green card shouldn't have been issued in the first place. So it's possible. It's also very possible to be in detention and in removal proceedings without a green card because the person has no legal status here. So it's difficult to tell what the exact circumstances are there. And unfortunately, our organization isn't equipped to help, but yeah.
Can you name the organization that you named earlier that you said if he did not have an attorney or the attorney would have to end representation? What was the name of that organization?
Oh, I don't think I named the one. Every immigration court has a list of legal services providers that should be on their website, where they list legal services that are interested in trying to represent people that they can. So the Boston Immigration Court has a list of free legal service providers or low-cost legal service providers. So I would suggest that anybody listening with somebody in this circumstance go to the immigration court website and look at the list that's geographically specific to where they are.
So even though Project Citizenship cannot directly help you, this is the information for those that may need help to go and seek those references. He was brought to Plymouth. I was unaware of that. But Remy, I do want to say regarding that situation, I do remember when we had Ayanna Presley on air. No, we had Rachel Rollins on air, and she was like, yo, reach out. So continue. I would say, like, go beat down Rachel Rollins' door. Go show up on her doorstep. Go and not her home doorstep. That is not what I meant. I meant, like, go to the office and knock on her door and have his family and have his folks go, because she said that she'll take a look at it. And if you want, you can go back to the show, rewind, take that clip out and be like, remember when you said you'll take a look at this? And so that is my only suggestion, since this is not the answer. I do want to be helpful in that. There was another, I don't know if this is a question or if this was a comment, but we are a nonprofit and we help people who are legally permanent residents who are interested in applying for their citizenship, approximately 40 people, and would like to refer them for services. Do you know Dalton? Are you familiar with Dalton?
I don't.
Or that service?
Our process in general is for individuals to call us. And a staff member screens the person for eligibility. So we ask questions about how much the person has traveled, if they have any criminal issues, how long they've had their green card for. It's a short screening.
Okay, so I called. Bring. Hi, Erin. I'm Tayla. I have my green card. Can we please figure out whether or not I can become a citizen?
Sure. So I would get your name and address, phone number.
Tayla Andre, Boston, Massachusetts, 617-459-0041.
I would also ask for your email address. Right now, we're doing all of our workshops via Zoom. And we're communicating with clients over email to facilitate these Zoom workshops much more so than we did in the past. Before COVID, all of our workshops were physical workshops. So you would sign up to come to a library or our office or a law firm. But now we're doing all of these workshops over Zoom.
Things over Zoom. Okay, here's my email address, Tayla Andre at thumbprintrealty.com. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, I am your end all be all. I got you. What are some other questions?
Sure. So I would ask for you to tell me how long you've had your green card for.
5 years.
Great. If you have ever had any issues with court. So have you ever been arrested, but talked to a police officer?
I was arrested for smoking weed publicly, and my public pretender told me to plead no contest.
So if you've had any criminal issues, we need to get a copy of your criminal docket. So we need you to email us a copy of the record from the court, so that we can analyze whether it makes you ineligible or potentially removable from the United States.
Mm-hmm. And what are my ineligibilities and what will get me deported? And do I get to walk out of your office if it is a deportational offense? Some other eligibility issues is how much have you traveled? So have you taken trips over the 6 months in the last 5 years? That may be an issue that presents ineligibility. But I can wait 5 more years and then apply.
Yes.
Okay.
Tax issues, like do you owe taxes? Immigration issues. Have you been to immigration court before? What happened? Have you been stopped at the border before? What happened? So those are some of the basic screening questions we ask. We ask if people, so that we charge no fees whatsoever. The government charges $725 to apply for citizenship.
I'm so sorry, Erin. They recently stopped the financial assistance in order for you, the Trump administration, correct? So there used to be financial assistance.
So there was a proposed change of the fees, so a drastic increase of the fees and a drastic decrease of the number of fee waivers that was going to be available. Fortunately, that change was stopped. So the fee remains $725 and fee waivers remain available for people who have low income or are receiving means tested benefits. So a means tested benefit is like food stamps or Mass Health. So we ask some questions about that to determine a person's eligibility for a fee waiver. About 70% of our clients every year are eligible for fee waivers. So we help them apply for free and they don't have to pay the government anything.
Okay. Any more questions that I need to answer?
So in addition to immigration issues, tax issues, criminal issues.
What if I do owe taxes, but I'm on a payment plan?
Sure. So if you're on a payment plan, you will just need to demonstrate that you are making payments on that payment plan to immigration at the time of your interview. So some people owe taxes and they say, I'm going to pay them off, or I'm trying to get on a payment plan. We need to know that it's done, that you're making payments on the payment plan, and then you'll need to prove that to immigration at the interview.
Any more questions that I need
Those
to
are
answer?
our big questions.
So, and I'm a law-abiding citizen. I just smoke a little weed, so my green card I can become a citizen. And so, what steps do I take after that? I do this online Zoom that you send me because I like preliminary. That word, the first half of it is done. I do not present any like risk. And the second part of the question is, if you do find out that I am one of the deportable ones, do you send out my information like, she came in trying to be a citizen, but she really need to get deported?
No, all information you provide to us is confidential. So we're not disclosing it to anyone. We're a small nonprofit. So if somebody has a criminal issue, we do need to see those the documents from the court to figure out whether the issue is not a big deal, and doesn't make you ineligible, or it could make you ineligible or potentially deportable. And so we always need the actual records from the court. So for clients to get us those before we can make a determination of whether we can move forward. But we don't disclose anything to anyone else. Everybody's screening is completely confidential.
Blessings. Okay, so we already went through, the first half. I just opened up the Zoom meeting. There's like 35 other people in here with me. What's the next step?
Sure. So we send you a link to join a Zoom workshop. At that workshop, you will go to a breakout room with a volunteer. And the volunteer will go through, it's a 20-page application. We do that 20-page application with you. So the Zoom meeting can take like 1 to 3 hours because you need to know the volunteer is writing down your residential history, your employment history, like schools you've been to, travels you've taken, your spouses, if you have had.
Is this like in the last 4 years, the last 5 years, or this is like my entire duration of being in the United States?
So residential and employment is just the last 5 years. But we do need to list out every child you have and stepchild you have and your marital history as well as your spouse's marital history. And then after that Zoom, after the initial volunteer completes the application, an attorney or accredited representative goes over the application with you. And after that, we will email you a copy of your application to make sure it's correct. And then signature pages that you actually need to print and sign. Once we get those back from you, we submit the application to USCIS.
No shade thrown, but I do wonder if it would be easier on the volunteers if that 20-page application is that accessible? Like for somebody who does speak English and I've been here and I can fill it out, like can I just do it myself, or do I have to stay on the 1 to 3 hour Zoom and go through line by line?
Yes, so we have a worksheet that we send out with like all the information we need for the client to, if they can, fill it out ahead of time so they're not looking through bills and paperwork. So it can take a much shorter amount of time. And if the client has a filled out N400, the N400 is publicly available. Nobody needs an attorney to fill out the form. But we do track the case. So these applications can take a long time to process. And so one service we provide is to keep track of it for the life of the case. And we submit service requests to immigration if it falls out of processing time. So if it's not where it should be in the process, we know that because of the volume of applications we're submitting, and we submit those automatically.
Okay, so you do not have to stay on a Zoom for 3 hours. If you can speak English, you've been here long enough, you can do it by yourself. And what is that form called again?
So the naturalization application is an N400.
All right. So I fill out the application, I send it to you, or I need help with language. How many languages do you all assist with?
Sure. So we have Spanish, French, Italian, and Haitian Creole speakers on staff. And we help clients who speak many other languages and they just provide the interpreter.
Okay. So I gave you this information. I may or may not have a need-based program that I'm a part of. I don't have food stamps or Mass Health. So instead, I am paying $750.
$725.
$725. Can I pay in installments, or do it need to be in one check?
So you can pay by check, by money order, or using a credit card authorization form.
But it has to be one payment.
But yes, no installment payments are permitted.
Okay. Listen, I'm trying to answer all the questions that everybody has.
No,
right?
I
Not everybody has $725 sitting around for citizenship. Okay, so I filled out the paper. I paid. I didn't pay. Whatever my financial status is. Now what?
So now, once we submit the application, we wait. The person should, within 2 months, get a receipt notice from the government just saying your application is in process. It used to be a lot faster, but in COVID times, it is
2 months for the receipt. So you're not a citizen. You get 2 months for a receipt. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The next step is to wait to get an appointment for biometrics. So to get your fingerprints taken. Right now in COVID, this is what's slowing a lot of people down. The immigration says that they're trying to use old fingerprints, and so that they don't have to make a new fingerprint appointment for every single person applying to naturalize. So if you've gotten your fingerprints taken because of your green card or your green card renewal in the last several years, hopefully you won't need a biometrics appointment, and they'll just use.
Erin, you good?
In need of fingerprint appointments.
Okay. So we got what if you receive your passport? It expired over the allotted expiration date, and immigration now wants you to prove your citizenship. I'm unable because I can't find my mother's naturalization papers. What do I do to renew my passport?
This sounds like a person who has a U.S. passport that they're trying to renew. Is that right?
If you're still watching, we're going to keep it anonymous because it was in the inbox, so we're not going to name names. Can you please continue? Or you know what? Let me just make your life easier. ProjectCitizenship.org. Any questions that you have, ProjectCitizen.org. The worst case scenario they can tell you is, let me refer you to somebody else that can help you, because that is not what we do. And so what are these calls like? As far as this wait time, if I call y'all, I'm going to be on hold for 3 hours. Like what does the call in look like?
No, if you call us and you don't reach the person, please leave a voicemail and we will call you back. We call everybody back within 24 hours if we can understand the voicemail. So if we can hear your phone number that you're asking us to call you back at.
And is there a contact us now type form on the website? So if I don't want to call and wait 24 hours and I just want to send an email, is there something on the website that I can do that?
Yes, we have an email address, info@projectcitizenship.org.
info@projectcitizenship.org. So after I wait my 2 months for my receipt, then what happens?
Right. And then you wait for your biometrics appointment. You should get either a biometrics appointment or a letter saying we're using your old fingerprints. Then you should get an interview notice. So have an interview at immigration. In Boston, it's at the JFK Federal Building. And you go to that interview and they go over the naturalization application with you. They give you a reading and writing test in English and a civics test as well.
Now here comes the fun part. So for all y'all American citizens that did not take civics class, I just want to go over some of these questions with you because you would fail. We would fail. You don't understand what these naturalized citizens go through in order to become a citizen. So one of the questions, so again, there's 20 questions. There's over 100 questions in total that they will choose and pick from, that you will have to know all 100 of them because you will be asked 20 of the 100 and you have to get 12 of the 20 correct. And so what is the supreme law of the land? I wish we had more time so I could ask y'all real questions and get wrong answers in real time. So what is the supreme law of the land? The Constitution. What does the Constitution do? It sets up government, defines government, protects basic rights of Americans. The idea of government is the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words? I just want to wait for effect. We the people. What is an amendment? What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? How many amendments does the Constitution have? What did the Declaration of Independence do? What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? Like, these are y'all would not pass. Y'all would not pass. And our citizens, I want to say congratulations to all of you. Shout out to Harvey because my children's father had to go and become a citizen. And I am very proud of him. And I watched it in Faneuil Hall when he became a citizen. And so it's like a really big deal. And it's a beautiful ceremony. So what does it look like when I finally get my citizenship? So I get the letters like, Tayla, you're a citizen. Then what happens?
Sure. So at the interview, they'll make a decision. And if you pass the tests, they'll give you a letter that says, congratulations, your application is recommended for approval. Then you'll wait and you'll get a notice in the mail of when you should come and take the oath. So the day of your oath ceremony is the day you get your naturalization certificate. That's the day you actually become a citizen.
Woo! And you get to go to Faneuil Hall, aka the Slave Masters building, and be able to say, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. I'm sorry. But
no, they're doing it. So sadly, COVID has caused them to do a lot fewer public ceremonies and in interesting places. So right now, my understanding is they're doing them at USCIS in Boston and some at the Moakley Courthouse.
Ew, that's boring. I want the whole hoopla. Give me the hoopla. And so what is typically the time that it takes from application to citizenship for a green card holder?
So right now, the processing time in Boston is 8 to 14 months, and the processing time in Lawrence is 5 to 11 months.
Okay. So Citizenship 101, thank you, Dalton. I truly appreciate you. It's Tayla, Tayla. Citizenship 101. I am super excited for this conversation, and I really do want to continue this conversation over the next forever. This is really important for all of us to have an understanding of how our friends and family members are affected. It's not only about us, it's about those that we cross paths with every day, and you probably don't even know that your coworker or someone, your neighbor, is a green card holder and could be a citizen. 200,000 Massachusetts residents have green cards and are eligible for citizenship. Why would they want to get their citizen? Why would they want to become a citizen if they've been a green card holder for 10, 20, 35 years?
So I think the benefits of citizenship involve the ability to vote. So that's the way somebody can vote, is that they can become a citizen. They can travel, so they can apply for a U.S. passport, travel with a U.S. passport, be gone for more than 6 months without concerns about having to come back or having to prove that they still qualify for their green card. They can petition to bring more family members here faster. And there are some benefits that are only available for citizens, that beyond just voting. So the ability to run for certain offices, the ability to have certain federal jobs, the ability to qualify for certain benefits. There's some benefits stop after somebody has been a green card for a certain number of years.
Well, Erin, I thank you so much. Again, projectcitizenship.org, or it's info@projectcitizenship.org. If you want to go ahead and just send an email, let them know that you have some questions. And if you have any other personal questions, specifically to the person who inboxed me regarding their own passport, please hit up projectcitizenship.org and have all of your questions answered. If you know somebody who is a green card holder, please let them know that they can contact Project Citizenship and get more information on becoming a citizen, because we need them to vote and we need you as well. And so thank you so much for your time. Anything else you want to tell the people?
No, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate you getting the word out.
Thank you. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And make sure you grab the book. Finally Home is a must-read, step-by-step guide that will equip any first-time home buyer with the knowledge they need to confidently make informed decisions. This book provides answers in simple and clear terms to most, if not all, of the questions you may have about credit, home ownership, and generational wealth. Finally Home equips the reader with the confidence to be engaged with the home buying process without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tayla Made Real Estate Easy is not just a catchy hashtag. It is real estate agent and radio personality Tayla Andre's goal. A goal to simplify one of the most challenging processes you will go through as an adult. A goal to educate you properly on credit and teach you the strategies to finding the home of your dream. It is not just a good book or an easy read. It is the secret to a seamless home buying experience. I am the secret to a seamless home buying experience. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate in Massachusetts or Georgia, call me directly at 617-459-0041. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Everything Tayla Andre, TaylaAndre.com. Mwah.
The miracle of radio.
Radio. New England's #1 urban Caribbean music.
Radio. Spark FM. Join us on Facebook and Instagram at sparkfmonline.com.